Wait, did it go? No, it didn't. All right, the most expensive mistake in video game history. I wonder what the mistake is and how much it costs. Probably $3 million trillion. What is okay, this guy can't audio mix. I might have to restart it. I don't know what to do. I'll try and like I'll try and do that again. Let's do it from the start. Make it quiet and then start. Gotta DJ it, yeah.
Microsoft is facing a potentially huge.
I'll have to hover it, guys.
One Xbox has been sent back 3 times.
I remember that too.
On some Xboxes, literally.
Hold on. This is really loud, yeah. I'll turn it down.
The red ring of death for Xbox.
That's really loud. Oh yeah! Smash it! Bang, bang, bang! The American way. Okay.
For
now,
years, Nintendo
tearing it
and
up.
Sega had been
There
locked
we
in
go.
a mortal battle for supremacy, known as the console wars. By undercutting Nintendo on price and targeted ads, which claimed the Genesis does what Nintendo doesn't quite have the capability of doing, Sega had just barely clawed their way to the top. At the very first E3 in 1995, Sega sauntered onto the stage with an ego so big it could be seen from space. Their new console
wars are dumb. Yeah, it's just consumerism at its finest, really.
Sony's PlayStation.
Before you're a
That the
socialist,
Saturn would be available that very same day, Sega cockily announced the price.
Our retail price is between $399 and $449.
In response, Sony's American president, Steve Race, would take the stage amidst the PlayStation reveal and say to raucous applause,
"Oh my god.
$299.
On launch, the PlayStation sold more units in 2 days than Sega did in 5 months.
Wow.
Sega no longer makes consoles. In the battle for console supremacy,
Sega?
one mistake can cost your company everything. Fast forward to the early 2000s. Sony has been dominating for years, and Nintendo was close to giving up competing on hardware like they used to,
the
and
GameCube?
start making
Hell
consoles named after bodily fluids instead. Microsoft had also splashed onto the scene with a black and green console emblazoned with a logo that looks like a sourdough loaf, which may have been intentional. Unfortunately, the gaming industry couldn't handle more than one shape-themed console, and Nintendo's GameCube was unable to capture the market. This meant that the Xbox's real
But I love the GameCube. I love the GameCube. How is it not a good fucking console? I feel like everyone had one. Maybe it's bias. Yeah, GameCube was golden, man. I don't know. Maybe it was too niche. It wasn't as popular as a PlayStation, but still. PC can do everything a console can, and somewhere a console can't. Yeah, but it's cheaper. There's no $400 laptop that's gonna run like, you know, I don't know, Assassin's Creed or like Call of Duty. You know. He's British, they hate Nintendo. I don't get the joke. I think people back then said that GameCube was just as bad compared to the Nintendo 64 that was when it first came out. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I was a little kid and I just remember it being really amazing. GameCube really didn't sell well. Well, yeah, compared to like PlayStation and like all those other big ones. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Yeah.
Real competition came from Sony's PlayStation 2, following the massive success of the PlayStation 1. The PlayStation 2 had excellent brand recognition. It also had a built-in DVD player, back when those were still
PlayStation 2 was so
you could
good.
convince your mum that even she could use the PS2 to watch, I don't know, the hot chick on DVD. The Xbox technically played DVDs too, except for the fact
you can spec a PC for cheaper and all the latest games still. Not for $400, man. Not for $400. No, you can't. No. I would love to hear it, but I just sincerely doubt you can't. That's the whole appeal of consoles. PS2 killed the generation. Dude, PS2 was amazing. PC cheap, I wish. Yeah, I would say having an $800 one, yeah, but $400, no. That's not gonna cut it.
The fact that
There's
you had to
no
buy
way.
a separate remote accessory just so that it would play movies. If only there was some kind of controller that they could, you know, bundle with the console that you could use to navigate menus on a TV. Now, crucially, the PlayStation 2 released a full year before the Xbox.
Hold on, I just want to look at this graph. The Dreamcast came out at the same time? Yeah, no wonder fucking Sega died. Aw, bye, Darkblade. Feel better. 2001. Yeah, isn't it wild, man? This is the same generation?
PlayStation 2
Crazy,
released a
dude.
full year before the Xbox, giving them plenty of time to build momentum. The numbers really are quite staggering in
Wow,
retrospect.
yeah.
The PS2
Actually,
had a
that
much
makes
longer
sense, yeah.
lifespan than the others, only being discontinued in 2013. And it's no surprise why. It sold like hotcake hand jobs, totaling around
Hotcake hand jobs,
155 million units sold. While the Xbox managed to outsell Nintendo, which is
Yeah.
no small feat for a newcomer. I mean, a dead rat in a gutter would have outsold the GameCube. Wow.
What? I loved my GameCube. Oh.
Microsoft learned a lot from their first console and had the endless money needed to take a loss to Sony on the chin because, you know, they're Microsoft. Even so, the Bill Gates
Of
Express
course.
wasn't content with their second place
I understand
standing
it though.
in the console
PS2 was
wars.
way better and
They
way
wanted
cooler.
to be on top, and they knew just how they'd do it. Microsoft's next console, known only as the Xenon, the next
Xbox
Xbox,
720.
or the imaginatively titled Xbox 2, had to be out first.
The
Sure, they would still
iPods.
attempt to make a quality product and nab some more
Love that.
exclusive
The
titles to
Xbox.
swing the public
Xbox,
over.
turn on.
But the next box had to be out before the PlayStation 3. With development only starting in 2003 and a
Yikes.
holiday 2005 release date as their goal, the team had a near impossible task ahead of them. They would have to think outside the Xbox, cut corners
I
like
love
it's
my
crunch time
GameCube.
at the Circle Factory, and pray that nothing went wrong.
I think PS2 was just more appealing. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with the GameCube. It was a great console, to be honest. But again, popularity
War
is
Thunder?
like...
War Thunder
War Thunder,
is the most
no,
comprehensive
not
vehicle combat
that!
game ever made. Square off against up to
So
7.88
many
billion real
ads.
people, using over 2,000 tanks, planes, choppers, ships, and a 1986 Toyota Corolla in exciting combined arms PvP battles. From quick thrills to slower tactical campaigns, War Thunder's immersive
Xbox.
PvP battles cater to all playstyles and experiences. But
Hop
only
on War
if you're
Thunder,
12
we
years
need
and
to delete
older.
classified
12.
documents. True.
Good thing too.
Oh god,
as
his
the vehicles
audio mixing
suffer
is
real
so
damage to
bad.
their highly detailed individual
Play it,
components,
fuck
crew,
off.
and feelings. With
Playing
an
this
X-ray mode
garbage.
so gory, I can't even bring myself to show you. It's like the Mortal Kombat of tanks. I'm always a
Mortal
huge
Kombat
sucker
of
for anything
tanks.
customizable in video games, so I love the fact that you can tweak everything from the camos,
Warn
decals,
them to stream
even
when.
bushes.
If they
All
give me
new players, or those who
$3,000,
haven't
I'll
played
stream
in
it
over
right
6
now.
months can claim
Right
a huge bonus
now.
pack for a limited time by using my link in the description. Play War Thunder now for free.
Garbage?
on
No, I'm
PC,
kidding. It's just
Mac,
not appealing to me.
Linux,
I
Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PlayStation 4,
Oh!
and PlayStation 5.
Wow!
In May of 2005, Microsoft announced
is
their
the
next
what?
console, the Xbox 360. Not at
Xbox.
E3, mind, but on a flashy, overproduced, painfully 2000s broadcast on MTV. Hosted
Fuck
by
yeah,
Elijah Wood,
MTV.
with musical performances by The Killers, which take up about 50% of the broadcast. There were appearances by
Lil Jon and
Tony
Elijah
Hawk,
Wood?
Sway, and the guys from Pimp My Ride, who pimped out an original
Dude.
Xbox. The best way to describe the entire thing is
This is so
confused
bad.
more than anything. Like, the producers at MTV were terrified that gaming was still too nerdy for their normal viewer base. So for every 10 seconds of actual console information, there's 5 minutes of musical interludes and celebrity interviews that had nothing to the reveal.
Holy
The
shit, I
actual
love it,
nerdy
dude.
reveal occurred later that month at E3 2005. The team had learned a lot from the original Xbox, namely to make a controller designed for human-sized hands.
Actually,
the 360 had a whopping 512 megabytes of RAM.
This is the grossest this is even grosser than the GameCube controller, no cap. Hold on.
Namely to make a controller.
Look at this thing, it's nasty. It looks like a fucking drone controller. You guys know what I mean? It looks like a controller for a drone. Nintendo 64 is worse. No, man. I feel like it's not. I mean, it's subjective. Again, subjective. But in my opinion, it's so chunky. That's my childhood, but it's so ugly. Look at it. It's so big. It's so big.
Controller designed for human-sized hands. The 360 had a whopping 512 megabytes of RAM, a beefy hard drive in a time when everyone was used to memory cards, and they finally figured out that DVDs could be controlled by the controller that
RC controllers, yeah, it does look like an RC controller,
This
you're right.
controller wouldn't be the only piece of hardware slimmed down from the previous Xbox,
Oh,
as
that
the
looks
box
nice.
itself also went on the Jenny Craig diet, featuring sultry curves that made it the first fuckable
GameCube
console.
controller.
This meant that space was at a premium, forcing the poor power supply out into the cold. Temperature was also a major concern, with the components so tightly packed together. Achieving good airflow to combat overheating would be a challenge. A challenge
Yikes.
which almost cost them everything.
Uh-oh.
The 360 launches and it goes ballistic. This was largely thanks to their $399 price point, the great library of launch titles, and the fact that it was just a great console. But crucially, they
Very
were also
cheap for a
first. Not
console.
only had Microsoft's mad dash to the finish line put them ahead of the competition, Sony's own hubris all but handed the reins over to Xbox. In 1995, Sega had cockily taken the stage and announced their new console, only to be blindsided by the plucky underdog PlayStation. 10 years later, Sony cockily took to the stage to announce their new console, the PlayStation 3, stating that the next console generation doesn't start until they say so. The presentation is infamous for one reveal in particular: the price. Like Sega had done all those years ago, Sony incorrectly assumed that brand loyalty would overcome any price point.
My friend
and
got
dropped
the
console.
My friend got the Red Ring of Death twice on the same console, and then he finally got a refund.
At $4.99 for a 20 gigabyte model,
What?
or $5.99 for the 60 gigabyte model. Microsoft was ecstatic.
That's
Not only was their console out
expensive.
a full
Yeah.
year before Sony's, but the outrageously high price would turn away all but the most die-hard Sony fans and the US Air Force. Everything was
And
coming
the
up
US Air
Billhouse.
Force? What the
But
fuck?
there was something lurking in the background. You see, in their mad dash to get the 360 out in time, there were a few issues with the console's design. To Microsoft, their desire to beat Sony outweighed whatever problems might arise from these flaws. Of course, had they known the actual scale of the problem, they never would have
Xbox
sent
of
it out
rocks.
to
What
production.
the
At the
fuck
height of
does
the
that
360's
mean?
popularity, one console was coming off the factory line every 4 seconds, yet only around 50% of these newly birthed consoles actually worked. For
Yeah, my friend bought a second and then a third one, and the second one only had the red ring once, but then it broke because of something else, so he couldn't get a new one. And then the third one finally worked. So it's because they pumped them out so fast they didn't have quality control. Yeah. Yeah, I was in high school. I remember talking to him about it. He's like, yeah, I bought the new one. My mom got it for me for my birthday. And then by Christmas, it was red ringing. And like, yeah, it was really bad. His mom was super upset because she thought that he broke it, but there was nothing wrong with it. As in, like, he didn't do anything. Yeah, because they pumped them out so fast to try and keep up with PlayStation.
For comparison, a normal production run would expect a 90
Yeah, they
to
were rushing,
95%
exactly.
success rate. Unable to sell
If
these
you bought them
broken
later,
consoles,
yeah, you'd be
Microsoft
fine.
instead shipped them to a warehouse that they referred to
Would you bless
as
my soup?
the bone pile. And
Yes, I bless your soup. Have a delicious soup. I got red after 2 years. What? Really? Damn, that sucks. Shit. Hi, Shade. What's up?
At one point, this bone pile had over 500,000
the
broken
graveyard
units that they hoped to one day fix and sell, if not for one problem. They had no idea what was wrong. They weren't sure if there was a fault in the manufacturing process, the design of the silly little box, or even the testing methods they use to determine if a machine works. But hey, at least the other half of them works. So that's something, right?
Oh no.
Several months after the 360's launch, people began to report issues with their console. These sabotaged systems were afflicted with one ailment in particular, a red ring flanking the power button. These rings, usually used to indicate how many
I'm getting PTSD just looking at that. I remember we were at his friend's house and he brought his Xbox with him and it started red ringing in front of us. And we were so sad. We went to his dad and he tried to like do something about it, but he couldn't because he obviously doesn't know what's wrong. But yeah,
controls
so
plugged
sad.
in would turn red when there was an error. Depending on the amount of rings, a different error would be represented. But the most infamous one was 3 red rings, a general hardware failure. This error indicated that something internally is so fucked that it couldn't even spit out an error message on your TV and only had the wherewithal to light up the 3
Fucking
LEDs.
Boogie, man.
This
Look
quickly
at
became
Boogie!
known as the Red Ring of Death, a play on the equally infamous blue screen of death from Microsoft's other failed game console, the PC. The name Red Ring of Death was
That's not Boogie? I thought it was.
more like a 3/4 of a ring.
That's Francis. Oh yeah, my bad. I thought it looked different. I was like, I kind of thought Francis.
Actually, a pretty
Boogie
minor
looked
issue
different.
that usually just means your AV cable isn't plugged in properly. In the early days, Microsoft swept these reports under the rug, either maliciously to protect their brand, or because they had no idea how widespread the problem was. Immediately following
was
the console's
so
release,
bad.
they claimed that it had the industry standard failure rate of around 3 to 5%. When you ignore the literal...
I think the failure rate was like 30%, if I remember correctly. I remember reading an article about it. I could be wrong, but I think it was 30, which is 1/3 of all of them.
Graveyard of stillborn Xboxes piling up in some Taiwanese warehouse.
Xboxes,
This
what a
might not have been a lie. After all, it took several months of use for the Red Ring of Death to appear. But over time, it became apparent that it wasn't if your console would brick, but when. By April of 2007, around a year and a half after the 360's release, Microsoft's VP of Entertainment, Peter Moore, refused to comment on failure rates when questioned. This problem, once ominously looming in the distance, like a Twitch streamer standing across the road from a middle school, was now barreling towards them at worrying speed. And according to Microsoft, they still had no idea what the problem was. Desperate fans who didn't want to go a day without racking up that sweet gamer score would turn to the internet for a variety of homebrew
Time to read the
Tips
forum
included
posts.
wrapping your 360 in towels and then letting it run for 20 minutes. A fire extinguisher would be nice if you feel the need. You might want to use it. While this may solve the problem, it might only last a few more hours before showing the Red Ring of Death again. Buying a repair kit for $30, which would almost certainly void your warranty if it didn't work. The only homebrew solution that actually managed to fix the Red Ring of Death was posted by the YouTuber How To Basic, but even this required a lot of equipment and know-how and wasn't doable for most users. The most common remedy was to suck shit. A majority of the troubleshooting guides hit you with the "I'm sorry, but you've only got 30 days left to live" stare, informing you to contact Microsoft to have it repaired or start working double shifts to afford a PlayStation, which was also Sony's advice, by the way. The process of sending off your Xbox was hardly ideal either. After a no doubt riveting time on hold to Microsoft support, they would ship out a regular box for you to put your Xbox in, affectionately dubbed cardboard coffins by gamers. These little cards then take anywhere from a few days to a few weeks to be spat on by Xbox technicians and returned, and even then, there was no guarantee it wouldn't break again. Other fans, frustrated at Microsoft for selling a defective product,
because they didn't even know what was wrong with it, as you saw in the fucking video.
attempted their own repairs.
They didn't know! Woo! God, fucking YouTube videos, man. Hold on. God, it's so loud.
The situation was dire.
His audio mixing is something else, though. Damn, I had to turn it down again.
And the cause of the Red Ring of Death still a mystery. The team had to do something. They made the difficult decision to shut down production of the Xbox 360 until they could figure out what the issue was once and for all. Of course, this only solved the problem for unborn future Xboxes, but did nothing for the millions of defective consoles that had illegally crossed the Mexican border, taking jobs from hard-working, reliable consoles. Were they to cover the repairs for those units, the cost of shipping, repairs, extending the warranties, and government-mandated apology kisses wouldn't be cheap. Their financial department estimated it would cost around $1.15 billion, but doing nothing would
$1.15 billion
cost them even more. The entire
Holy
Xbox
shit.
brand. Peter Moore was to meet with Steve Ballmer, Microsoft's energetic CEO, and deliver
Oh
him
my God,
the
he's
bad news.
sweating. He's sweating. Look at him. He's sweating like a piggy. Holy moly.
Steve Ballmer, Microsoft's energetic CEO, and deliver him the bad news.
He said, what's it going to cost? And I just remember taking a deep breath, looking at Robbie and going, we think it's $1.15 billion, Steve. He said, do it.
Do it.
Only a few months after Peter Moore refused to comment on failure rates, he put out an open letter addressing the issue.
To our Xbox community, you've spoken, and we've heard you. Good service and a good customer experience are areas of the business that we care deeply about. And frankly, we've not been doing a good enough job. If a customer has an issue indicated by the 3 flashing red lights, Microsoft will repair the console free of charge, including shipping, for 3 years from the
Like, that is the only thing that was redemption worthy, because they knew if they didn't do that, they would throw Xbox and Microsoft under the bus, like, and just kill the franchise, I think, honestly.
Console's purchase date. I want to thank you on behalf of all us at Microsoft for your loyalty. Fuck, my nuts are so fucking itchy, bro. Does anyone have any talcum powder? Oh, what? The speech to text is still going?
$1.1 billion. Not million, billion.
Okay, it only goes out when I say send.
This move is widely credited with saving the Xbox brand. Although the experience of sending off your Xbox was far from a pleasant one, the fact it was fully covered by Microsoft at least gave gamers the impression that they were doing something. Besides, people were hooked. Your only options as a console gamer were the Wii, which seemed more focused on catering to people who laugh at Facebook memes, or the PS3. Sony's Black Brick had yet to recover from its excessive price,
people still think the PS3 sucks, man,
and infamously poor range of exclusives at launch. So you've probably spent this whole video wondering what the Red Ring of Death actually was. After years of silence, mostly because Microsoft themselves had no idea, they finally revealed its cause in 2021 in order to meet European regulations.
What? It took them that long to figure out what was wrong with it? The fucking thing came out in like 2006 or some shit. What do you mean it came out in 2021?
Surrounding lead
I'd love
products,
to know.
Microsoft and their merry band of cohorts were forced to swap to a lead-free solder for their electronic parts. These solders connect the circuits on electrical components, making them crucial to the operation of the machine. The problem with removing lead from the equation is that the replacement alloy is nowhere near as flexible or tasty. This means, in an environment like the 360s, the constant fluctuations in temperature from being turned off and on again would cause the metal to expand and contract, like bending a piece of plastic or a Subway sandwich back and forth. Eventually, it would snap. The 360's original sleek, compact design left little room for solid airflow, which only exacerbated its heating issues. Now, it's possible that this wasn't exclusively because of the 360's rushed design, and instead thanks to good old-fashioned money grubbing. The broken solders primarily occurred in the graphics chip, one that Microsoft opted to design in-house instead of contracting an external vendor. This move might have saved them $10 million up front, only to cost them $1.15 billion down the line. Of course, the 360's rush design was still at fault for a myriad of issues outside the Red Ring of Death. While the Red Ring of Death was responsible for the majority of 360 meltdowns, its other malfunctions still occurred at a rate higher than both the PS3 and the Wii. Later versions of the 360 redesigned the internal components to allow for much greater airflow.
This is the one that my friend got in the end because it was fixed.
Reduced the likelihood of a Red Ring of Death. With Microsoft poised to release these new versions of the 360, as well as the groundbreaking launches of Halo 3 and Gears of War right around the corner, the future was bright for the console that almost did break it. So the next time you go to say that Xbox sucks or that Bill Gates should stop buying up farmland, spare a thought for the poor multinational billion-dollar corporations.
Aww, they lost $1.1 billion. No.
Oh, also the PlayStation 3 ended up winning. Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, don't forget to check out War Thunder for free on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation by using my link below. For a limited time, new players or those who haven't played in 6 months can claim multiple premium vehicles.
Someone sold me that one for like $50
and much more.
In the parking lot of the Alien Geek Stop about it in the store. That's pretty funny.
Hey, if you like this video, check out this one about Bethesda and their many scandals.
What is this? I love unskippable ads. Horrible audio mixing. Yeah, unfortunately, every time it cut to a video that was mommy piss 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 shit piss 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 fuck fucking shit on piss myself fuck piss 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 fuck piss fuck piss fuck piss 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 fuck piss